EGM Network.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Cottage Conversations with Lou Ciambriello. I am Lou Ciambriello, and today our topic is going to be a very important one, so I hope that you stay tuned and pay attention because this is about the new real estate regulations. But before we get into that, I do want to wish everyone a very happy Father's Day. Father's Day is this Sunday, and I don't know about you out there, but I had an amazing father. My husband's an amazing father. My son's an amazing father. I know that Steve is an outstanding dad, and I believe you too, John. Right, fall in that category of incredible dad. So please remember your father and all the wonderful things they did for you. And happy Father's Day, everyone. God bless. So let's get back into this. We're going to be talking about real estate regulations. And today, everybody is kind of confused about what's going on, whether you're a buyer or seller. And even if you're a realtor, you're not quite sure what's going on or understanding these new rules. So we brought our expert, the person that tutors us all the time and make sure that we understand what's going on, right, Jennifer?
Absolutely.
All the time. He's always correcting us. So anyway, we brought him in because he's the right person to give out this information. We have some questions for him. We're going to do this from a buyer standpoint, right? A little bit more of a buyer.
Yeah, this is, the buyers need to understand why the system is a little bit different now than it has been for the last 100 years.
Because those are really the people that are having an issue with it, and and some agents too that I know anyway.
Sure.
Oh, so.
Well, it's hard whenever we have new regulations that come out, and if you've done business for 20 or 30 years a certain way, it's hard to change the process of how you deal with a buyer.
I don't like it when they change my system, my computer system, let alone.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
with
when
that.
they
I don't like phone updates, computer updates. They change everything. It's in a different spot.
But this was a little rough for me. So, John, explain to everyone out there why this happened. Why are we in the middle of this regulation, and why do we have to follow the rules?
So there was a lawsuit that came out against the National Association of Realtors, as well as a lot of the larger brokerages like RE/MAX, Keller Williams, and the larger companies out there. And the premise of the lawsuit was that the buyers agents in particular and realtors were trying to show properties based on what compensation that they were going to get made. So, if you would make more money selling one home, over the other, that's not fair to your client.
Unfortunately, we all know agents like that too.
We know agents. I can promise you, there's zero of them in my company.
Well,
but
we know
there's a lot of agents that are out there. There's a lot of large brokerage in the cloud companies that don't have a lot of control over their agents. And so, I'm not saying that didn't happen. It wasn't at all prevalent in our company, but on a national level, we got a settlement out with the people that brought the suit and NAR to change the way that we do business.
And then the other thing is that it makes it difficult it's uncomfortable as far as I'm concerned. What do you think, Jennifer, when you have to present that slip of paper before you could even enter the house?
It doesn't feel as organic to me. I was so used to not basically running clients around, but
just showing property.
Showing them
and
property
they also find everything on the internet. So generally, in my specific situation, they generally send me. I just got one this morning. I want to see the following homes, and but so let's go further into this, John. Talk about. How should we approach a buyer?
Well, the biggest thing that changed, I'd like to take it just one step backwards.
Please.
The biggest thing that the buyer sees, which is kind of what we want to focus on here today, is that prior to viewing a house, you have to sign either a buyer brokerage agreement, a showing agreement, or some companies have their own custom documents. We use the ones that are provided by the state. Just to keep it simple, they're good documents. And there's a couple different types of those documents that are out there. I like to think of the showing agreement as like you're going on a date with your agent. So, in your situation, a buyer contacted you and wanted to see some properties. you don't know this buyer. You don't know if you're going to have a good connection with that buyer. You guys might not be on the same page. Your personalities might clash. So in that kind of a situation, I would not recommend signing a general buyer broker agreement. The general, what you would want to sign is a showing agreement, which just says that if you want to see these homes and if you purchase any of these homes, I will be your agent, but you're still free to go out and look at other houses with other agents. You're not 100% committed to that agent. The buyer broker agreement is more of it's a blanket document. It says that if you buy anything in, call it Indian River County, you're going to use me as your agent. And what's kind of unfortunate, for years, sellers have always been taught to interview numerous agents before they list their property for sale.
Buyers have not, yeah.
Okay, and buyers haven't. Buyers typically go online and they click send me more information, and buyers don't understand that when you do that, depending on the platform that you click send me more information on, you may or may not, in most cases, you are not getting to the listing agent. And buyers don't understand that.
Well, because of Zillow,
Zillow does not go to the listing agent. In most cases, there's no absolute, but that lead is typically sold to agents. Agents pay to get that lead, and they might be in a different county. They might not really know that area. They certainly don't know.
And they will not know the home either.
Much about the house. So the good thing that came out of this, and I'm a big fan of the showing agreements and the buyer brokerage agreements, because buyers really need to start interviewing agents and try to find somebody to help them with the purchase of that property. You are hiring somebody to say, I want 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. This is my lifestyle. This is the location that I like. This is what I want in the home. And then it's our job as buyer's agents to go out and find that for you. So before, with the new regulation, you have to sign a form, a showing agreement or a buyer brokerage agreement, or whatever the brokerage came up with on their own, before you are allowed to step foot in that house.
Before you can even peek in.
You cannot go through the threshold of that house before you do that. And a lot of agents aren't telling the buyers that in advance. So the buyer will just show up. You have a scheduled appointment. The buyer will show up to go look at the house, and then they don't understand the document, and they may not want to sign it.
It's a difficult conversation, I think, also to have over the telephone. Don't you think, when you have to say, listen, I'm going to be sending you over a document.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a difficult conversation. I think one-on-one, it's not as difficult because they get to see you. There's a reaction. Sure. But when you're, when you're over the phone or you're sending something over, I
like to do it in person.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard, in the drive-through, especially if you don't have the forms and you're doing it on your phone.
Well, I keep the forms on me, but I'm pretty much and this is why open houses are a big deal. So
Absolutely.
Talk about why listing agents should be doing more open houses.
100%, because there's an exception for open houses where you do not have to have, because it is open to the public, you do not have to have the buyer broker or showing agreement signed with that.
They feel free.
Yeah,
to come
and as
in.
a person that does
seen
nothing
it.
but open houses on Saturday and Sunday, I can tell you that the majority of them say they're coming in because they wouldn't sign an agreement. They were
Sure.
afraid. They were afraid to sign it, and even then, I try to educate them.
I've gotten that feedback as well.
Had agents say they've gotten them to the door. They've driven over. Somebody drove over from Naples and then refused to sign it. And we're not trying to hurt them. We're trying to help them. We're trying to disclose everything.
Well, we're going to do everything right. And I've been told that there's other agents that are laxing on this rule. But this regulation has some very serious penalties with it. I mean, it'll eventually cost you your license, which we're not going there. And it is a $1,000 fine to start with if you are caught showing a home without having something signed before you enter through that door. So they are very, very, very serious about this, and we're going to follow the rules. And if you have an agent that is willing to break the rules before you even get started, do you really want that person representing you on what is usually the largest investment and purchase of your life?
That's a pretty big deal. That's really a big deal.
You typically interview doctors, you interview everybody else. Why wouldn't you do it when you're trying to purchase a home.
And I think everyone should have a realtor in their pocket, just like you have an attorney, just like you have an accountant. I think that a realtor is a
100%.
resource. And I think you should have a good friend as a realtor. So if you're looking for friends, I'd be more than glad to be your friend, just so you know. Okay.
I will as well.
I know. We're all here to sell, by the way.
And one other thing
educate.
with these buyer brokerage agreements and the showing agreements, you can cancel them. If you hire an agent and they are not working out for you, there's a cancellation clause in there. And, all you have to do is, essentially what I request is you call me and tell me why one of my agents is not cutting it for you. Is it a personality thing? Are they late to appointments? Or are they not returning phone calls? I don't get very many of these. I might get 1 or 2 a year with all of our agents, but sometimes people just don't click. And we can either find you another agent, or we're happy to let you out of the agreement. I don't want an unhappy buyer. We're not there to force somebody into it, but we're gonna follow by the rules.
I think that makes you unique, though, John. I don't know. I know of many times I get phone calls from people that would like to list with me. They're with another agency, and they will not let them out. But that's not who you are. That's not who you are, and that's why we're with you, and that's why we all admire you. I'm going to look at my list here. Excuse me, Jennifer. You can look at your list too. Okay, you can ask some. So sometimes they ask, "Is this going to cost me money if I sign this?" Or they ask. And if it's going to cost me money, how much? So you explain how you would adjust compensation so that everybody here understands, especially the buyers, understand what we could do to get the compensation to the right number for the their agent.
So the conversation. Let me back up a second. So for the last 100 years or more, since real estate's really been around, we've had the multiple listing system. That's our internal database that only realtors can access. And in the past, the compensation was always listed on that MLS,
which is what caused this problem.
Sheet.
Yeah.
So part of the regulation is they actually pulled the compensation off of the MLS system, and the purpose for that, in their minds, was to eliminate agents from not sending properties off to buyers that are not paying them what they want. So if you had one that paid more than the other, maybe you didn't go show that property. Our office, I promise you, does not do that. We never have done that.
Because it's about the client.
It's about the client.
It's about the
creating
client.
that
It's not
relationship.
about us.
But on the showing agreement and the buyer broker agreement, there's a section on there for compensation, which we have to, by law, fill out. And that is the maximum amount in which we're allowed to collect as a buyer's broker agent. So this is more of a disclosure to the buyers that says, I might receive XYZ percentage or a flat fee or however that's filled out. And that is the most that we are legally allowed to collect then at that point.
And that's adjustable.
And it's adjustable, so we can always modify it. So if we put a specific number on there and then we go show a property where the seller is offering to pay, let me back up. So the sellers are typically still in this area offering buyer broker compensation. So I believe that we've only had this regulation has been out for almost a year now. And I can count on one hand how many times we've had the buyer actually pay our compensation as a buyer broker.
Right.
So the sellers are still offering it. The sellers want to make it as easy as possible for a buyer to purchase the home. And so they're still offering that. Now, if we show a property that has lower compensation than what is on that buyer broker agreement, we can do a modification to the agreement to reduce the amount that we're going to collect. We can always collect less. We cannot collect more on there. So before you show properties, in most cases, we've been able to contact the listing agent and ask them if compensation is being offered. And then we have that conversation with the buyers when we show the house so that they know, is that house going to cost $200,000 or is it going to cost $200,000 plus whatever the agreement that we have
So
for
what you're
buying
saying is we add the compensation onto the cost of the home, and with luck it'll appraise, and generally it does.
So that's one way to do it, or you reduce the amount that you offer for the house because at the end of the day, it's total money out of pocket for the buyer, and it's total money in the pocket for the seller. Those are the only two numbers that truly matter to buyers and sellers.
Okay.
How much am I going to clear? How much is this in real numbers going to cost me?
Okay, we're going to take a break right now, and then we're going to come back. And Jennifer almost had something to say, so we're going to let her start the next segment. Okay, so thank you.
Hi there, Mary Lou Ciambriello again. I have a few tips for you. Those of you that live in Bureau Lake Estates or in Sebastian, you should be getting these on a regular basis. These are my postcards. So I wanted to give you some tips on what you could do with my postcard. First of all, you can do this. You can take this and you can throw it out, or you can do the right thing, and that would be to recycle it. Secondly, it's a little far, it's a little hot. You can always use it as a fan. Or you can be like my girlfriend, Linda, and she thinks she's funny, and she sends me a picture every time she gets a postcard, and she uses it as a placemat. You get enough of them, you'll probably have placemats. But more importantly, I have a proven track record. These are all the homes that I've sold. Whenever you get this postcard, you'll notice there's different homes on here. So if you're looking for a realtor, the purpose of this card is for you to keep it, and when you do need a realtor, give me a call. Thank you so much. You have the best day ever, and it is a little hot in here. Have the best day. Ciao for now.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. And I believe Jennifer has a question. I'm so excited about this. Go ahead, Jennifer.
If I'm just browsing or not ready to buy, do I still have to sign something?
Yes. You have to sign something before you go into any house. I can send you, as a buyer's agent, I can send you photos. I can tell you all about the house. I cannot go do a video tour for you. If I do a video tour, they consider that as a showing, as touring the home. So we have to have something signed. Again, these agreements can go for 10 days. They can go for 6 months. They can go for a year. It's going to depend on the situation.
You can go for just the day.
Because there's a lot of times that I've met clients, they might be nice people, but we don't see eye to eye. We don't get along, and I don't want to work with them any more than they want to work with me. And we do a lot of referrals within our office because of just different personalities. I'm a numbers guy. It's either black or white. There's no gray in between. So I have other agents that deal very well with very emotional buyers, and then I have agents that are like
Those are
me,
my buyers.
that are deal well with attorneys, accountants, and that kind of stuff. And it's just a personality, and I want that buyer to be with somebody they enjoy working with. At the end of all of our transactions, we become friends. And you guys were at the Blue Water Open there 2 weeks ago. And just walking around, how many people did you run into
Jennifer
that you
knew half the audience.
And it's
I
because
met a few people.
We've done a lot of business,
I've lived
and these
here
people
since
become
99.
our friends. So.
Well, I don't care how long you've lived here. Okay, I'm happy that you got here before me. I knew John. He was the first person I knew at the Blue Water. And we're going to be talking about the Blue Water Open on our next podcast. I think that's on the 26th, and I'm really excited about that. But okay, so we should be shopping. You're saying as a buyer, we should be shopping our realtor. We should be understanding that we're not being rude, mean, or nasty. We just can't show. We want to keep our licenses. We want to do everything properly. So that's why we're asking you to sign this agreement. And that if you don't like us, you're going to let them out. You're going to scold us for not being a good agent, and then you're going to let them out of
Well,
it.
you're just looking for a pattern. And if one of my agents is not performing up to RE/MAX standards, up to my standards, then I want to know about it so that I can get them the training that they need.
Well, you're great at training.
Whether it's on communication or if it's on how to see through. Many buyers don't. They say what they think they want, and then they realistically buy something completely different, because once we start pointing out different features of a house that, you know, it might be on a corner, and the way that the house is situated on a corner, you're going to get shined with headlights all night, you know, from a stop sign or a corner.
Yeah.
And we, as an experienced buyer's agent, we point out things like that. And we're not there just to open a door and to write a sales contract. We're there to help you make the best decision for what you need.
We
Best
are
interest.
a good realtor is a true resource. It really
the best
is.
way to find a really good buyer's agent is ask your friends. And, you know, everything in my life I try to do by referral. If I need a dentist, I'm going to call around and get recommendations from people that I trust to find a dentist or an attorney or an accountant or whatever it is. Real estate's no different. We're a profession just like everybody else. So,
Definitely.
and if you really know no one, interview some agents, set up a time, say, hey, I would like to come in and sit down and chat with you about potentially buying a house. Nothing needs to be signed with that, as long as we're not looking at an actual house.
Well, that's how I feel with the showing agreements. Like when I first meet someone, I want to prove to them who I am, what I'm capable of, and earn their business.
Well, you're very
So,
likable, Jennifer. So I don't
try.
think I don't think it's hard for you. You're extremely likable. The good news is that a lot of our business is return business. So in that particular case, they already know the rules and regulations. We already have a relationship. It's not an issue for them to sign. But anything else that we should be talking about?
It's very simple. Like I work with a lot of the clients that I still work with are ones that I've worked with for 20 years.
It's not a problem.
So I can, you know, as soon as we start trying to do anything, I work with a lot of investors and builders and that kind of stuff. And I could go on January 1st and sign one for a year, a buyer broker agreement that is good for any property in Brevard, Indian River, St. Lucie County. And I'm good. You don't have to sign anything else ever again for the rest of the year. And then I'll sign another one January 1st the following year. So I always recommend that you start out with the showing agreement if you do not know your realtor or the realtor does not know their client, because you are only committing yourself to one house. And again, you can always cancel that if you decide that you really don't like working with that person. But after, you're going to have to sign something for each house that you look at. So the showing agreement, you can put multiple addresses on there. Let's say that you're looking at 5 houses to start the day, you know, your first appointment, and you go out and you look at those 5 houses, and none of them, you can do all of those on one agreement. And then you're going to go out the next day and look at 5 more. You've got to sign another one. Once you realize that Jennifer or Mary Lou is the agent that you like working with, then you can do the general buyer broker agreement. That's what I affectionately call the marriage. Now you're getting married for a specific point of time, saying no matter what I buy, I'm going to utilize your services and have you help me.
I explain that to clients that way, the showing agreement being a relationship and the buyer broker being marriage. It's kind of funny sometimes.
I just say, you know, you've got nothing to worry about with me.
I've tried,
if you don't like me, you can go.
I've tried doing it on site. I've went out and met people that I did not know, just random clients, and they called on one of my listings or rentals or whatever. And I've tried, you know, presenting it to them in person, and I've tried doing it over the phone and email before we went out. It's whatever your style works best. I've had the best success doing it in advance because I don't like to surprise somebody.
Right.
At minimum, I think we ought to tell them that we're going to have to, you know, execute this.
They need to understand what's coming their way.
Explain it to them, because I never want anybody to sign anything that they don't 100% understand. And, you know, in a lot of cases, we can show them proof of, yes, the seller is paying my compensation, so you don't need to worry about it. It's being paid by the seller or the seller's broker. But at all times, you're going to know that if you're going to have to pay for your buyer broker services prior to writing that offer.
And then sometimes they want to know if it comes out of their pocket right away.
Right.
And the answer is no.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that one yet, but absolutely not. It's all due and payable at closing. It's just another closing cost. For instance, if you're getting a mortgage, you've got your closing costs from the lender. They disclose it all up front. And this is no different. This would be the closing cost for, you know, on the buyer side for professional services, which is us.
And Jesse, how are we on time?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Well, I just want to thank everybody. Again, I want to remind you about Father's Day, and I want to thank my broker, John. I really and truly want to let you know that we are so excited to be with Remax Crown, all of us that are there.
100%.
And he is by far
The best broker.
the best broker ever, you know. Okay. And
I pay them to say
in
that.
town.
He doesn't pay. He does pay us, but not to say that. Okay, when we bring our checks over, he does take care of us. So, John, thank you so much.
No
I
problem.
really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Thank you, John.
Oh,
Thank
well,
you,
I hope
Mary
this is
Lou.
informative to all the buyers out there.
It-
and
it should
as
be.
always, if you have any questions,
We'll
just
have them
reach
call
out and,
you.
Reach out and call
Or
us.
you're looking for a new brokerage, Remax Crown Realty.
There you go. There you go. Thanks so much. Have the best day ever. Ciao for now.
I don't know if I was able.
.115 Briarcliff Circle is ready to steal your heart. Come on in. Grand vaulted ceilings, formal entry, elegant arches, French doors, and open, inviting floor plan. Welcome home. Large living and dining areas virtually staged to help you picture your best life at 115 Briarcliff. A home that feels like a warm hug, arches, soaring ceilings, and sunshine galore at 115 Briarcliff. Another view of the grand living room, featuring French doors to bedroom 3 and a peek at the charming alcove. Gather, laugh, and pass the good times. Formal dining room with a kitchen pass-through ready for your next celebration. More living room magic. Vaulted ceilings that lift the space and your spirits. A kitchen made for real life, pantry, loads of space and room for a table for 6. A huge eat-in kitchen with room for everyone. Yes, you even have a pantry. Sunlit dinette with space for 6. A smart flowing floor plan that makes everyday living easy and effortless. Modern living with a classic twist. French doors make bedroom 1 feel effortlessly cool. A peek at bedroom 1, virtually staged to inspire your dream space. Clean, bright, and full of possibilities. Bedroom 1, sleek and simple. The guest bath is all about easy living. Virtually staged to show its full potential. This alcove makes the perfect home office. Fresh and versatile bedroom 2. A sweet star for little adventures. Bedroom 2 virtually staged for children's dreams. Bedroom 2. A blank canvas ready for your imagination. Spacious master bath with dual sinks. And a shower built for stretching out and relaxing. Because one closet is never enough. 2 walk-in closets and a separate shoe closet waiting for you. Look under the arch. Bay window charm meets garden serenity in the master bedroom. See the dream come to life. Master bedroom virtually staged with cozy bay window seating and lush garden views. Not just a laundry room. It's the Cinderella chore room, fit for getting the job done in style. Get the full picture. Explore the 3D floor plan. It is attached to the listing. Enjoy every season from your private screen and patio. Splash, laugh, relax, and repeat. Life is better at Ashbury. The Ashbury Clubhouse, where neighbors become friends. Life's better on the green. Riverview Park, where there's always something happening. Ashbury is a pet-friendly community, welcoming dogs of all sizes. Conveniently located just minutes to the river and only 15 minutes to the beach. Close to fishing, boating, and all your favorite water adventures. Thank you for taking the time to check out this wonderful home. It's even better in person. 115 Briarcliff Circle in Sebastian,